the events that are happening in the end times right now, I want to pray against that, because I think it's terrible. And I keep trying to remind myself the things of this world are passing away, but I also try to remind myself that Paul says we're due for a glorious heaven, new heaven and a new earth. And it bothers me to the extent that I'm going, okay, God, I still don't get why I'm here. I'm a chicken. The fact that I'm on here saying this and not saying it to my friends and people, the fact that I'm putting this in songs, that's not being a servant. I mean, that's like, I'm wanting a shield, God, a shield of protection. And the songs and the stories and, the videos, that's all a shield for me to be what they call an end time servant, which there are a lot of those. I could go on and on, like Trump making homelessness illegal. What are you going to do? Throw them in jail? They'll have a better time in jail than they would on the streets. So I just don't agree. I don't agree with things. But the thought comes into my head, well, God doesn't care if I don't agree with it. God doesn't care if I'm saddened by it. Well, he cares about that, but he still wants his will to be done. And he's still telling me to do stuff like this. Even when I'm like, I just want to go live my life. But at the same time, I feel like I can't. Because my life is this. My life is this calling to write these songs, to bring people to God. People try to tell me to forget about the end times. You know what? I'm building an entire thing around it, because I've even written somewhat of a short story about this guy in a wheelchair, of all things. And it's called The Guy Who Knew the End. And it talks about this guy who is a composer who writes this prophetic end times music. While quakes are happening, one quake happens during, being outside, one quake happens during a service, and with each shaking, with each rattling, with each rolling, the guy is basically telling people through his videos and through his music, kind of like I am,